All right, I'm John Rowland with Highland Park Lapidary, and what I'm going to show you today is how we align our core drill rig. Now, I got two different styles of core drills that we're building right now. I'm going to align the big one. Now, when we're aligning a core drill, what we're really concerned with is we want to align this bit so that it is running parallel to the main rails in two planes. It's going to be parallel in this plane, front to back, and parallel in the plane right to left. If the bit is not parallel, if it's leaning, as you drill, it will start binding with your stone. And the stone will be rubbing on the inside of one side and the outside of the other side, and it will cause premature failure. And of course, it doesn't do a great job when it's working like that. So what we do is we have two bearings on the main shaft, and you'll see that we have set screws here on the sides and on the front and back. So there's 8 set screws on every single bearing, 2 to push it front to back and 2 to push it side to side. Now what that allows us to do is we can change the angle of this bit this way and this way. And that allows us to create a perfect alignment so that once we set this drill up, it's aligned and drilling perfectly. You don't get any bit drag as you're going through your stone. So what I'm going to do here is I won't do the whole thing because on a drill like this, it takes probably if it's your first time through, plan on it's going to take you 40 minutes or maybe an hour. But for me, it's probably 15 minutes front to back, 15 minutes side to side. Sometimes I get lucky and it comes in faster, but I'm going to show you side to side. Now we're just on a brand new drill, so we don't have all our pneumatics all hooked up yet. So we've got a little jury rig system here for running the ram up and down. Now when we do that, we don't want to run all the way to the stop, because when you run to the stop, it can push on the head a little bit and create a false reading both ways. The top less so than the bottom, but what we like to do is we like to move, through about this much of the bit, and then we're getting a pretty accurate measurement, because if we can run down the side of this bit and we can get a true measurement that's 5 or 6 inches, and we're within a thousandths or two on 5 or 6 inches, that bit is going to be drilling great. So the first thing I do is I've got it close to the bottom, and I've zeroed my indicator, and now we're going to move the ram up, and we're going to see which way the bit is leaning.
And why don't you just talk about the indicator?
If the indicator moves to the right, that's indicative of that the bit is leaning this way. Because if we lift the indicator point here, if I lift it up like the bit's pushing into it and moves to the right, if I pull it away, then it moves to the left. Now what that allows us to do is we know which way the bit is leaning, so we know which way to adjust the screws. So we're going to make this first move, and then we'll see where our reading is.
Ready?
Right there. Now, right now, we're 25 marks. Each mark is 0.01 mm. So 3 marks is about 1/1000th of an inch. So 9 marks is the thickness of a human hair. So we're pretty close right now. I want to see it a little bit better than that. We know right now that our bit is leaning a little to the left. So what we want to do is on the bottom bearing, we want to push on these set screws, which pushes that. And the set screws are fairly tight, but we're getting that final adjustment nudge. Now I can tighten the top one some too, because I'll basically be rocking the bit so it's leaning more to the left. I'm going to have to loosen these lower ones just a little bit. A little bit goes a long ways, but they're all pretty tight. Now I'm going to push to 0. Now this is a little bit different than when you're aligning a slab saw, because on a slab saw your blade is sitting like this on the arbor. And if you measure here and then turn the blade and measure here, any adjustment you make is going to be about that arbor. This, you're measuring a shaft. There isn't a pivot point. So when we hit 0 here, we're still going to see a little bit of an error as we come back. So I'm going to move back to the other position, to the top position with the ram down, and we'll see where we are. Right there. Now I'm going to come back to 0, and now we need to run back up again and see where we are. Right there. So now it's 15. We cut a good bit of it off, but we're still seeing a little bit of deflection off of what I would consider a perfect true. So I'm gonna again adjust these screws a little bit more. I'm gonna push to 0. 0 won't be an absolute true. If I'm really far out, I may go a little past. Like I went five past. We'll move back now. Right there. Now we're getting really close now. So now I re-zeroed, and we're going to come back up, and right now we're 6 marks. So we are 2/1000ths of an inch. That's about a human hair. So I would say right now, we're just gonna, if we keep adjusting, we're just gonna chase it. It's kind of pointless. So we do the same thing, like if we're gonna do front to back, we do the same thing. We take this indicator, we move it around here, and finagle my arm to get it to go where I want it to go. I got this new indicator holder, and it's a little cantankerous. I guess I'll go on the back side. It might be easier. Use an indicator because there's really not another way to get a really good measurement. I want this a little bit better centered. There we go. All right. So using an indicator gives you a really accurate measurement. You could spend a lot of time messing around with some other methods that, you know, like on slab saws, it's kind of the same thing. People will screw around with putting an L square on it or something where they think they're truing it, but it won't give you a true measurement. This gives you an absolute true measurement. It's a very inexpensive tool, and if you want your equipment to perform well, it's what you need. So that's pretty much it on bit alignment. We do once on the side, once on the front, and then usually after I tighten these main bolts down, I'll come back and check it again. You can tweak it with these screws. You can push that still even with the main bolts tight, but it gets a little harder. But if you're really close, it's easy to do that and bring it into that super fine adjustment. It could be a lot sloppier than this, but our feeling is bit life and bit wear is reduced if your core drill is really straight.
And speed of drilling.
Yes, less drag, less heat.
All right.